All right, I'm being joined by Tara Kartha and Madhav Nalapat on the show. Thank you very much for speaking to Republic. Madhav Nalapat, first to you. It's a grave meddling that has come out in the open. First, it was the Doge report. Now, Donald Trump has backed the claim as well. What do you think are the repercussions if this act, if true, has been proven?
Look, it's absolutely no secret that there has been US meddling in several countries, including India, and that meddling was intended for regime change because they wanted to replace the elected leaders with other people, either through the electoral process, which is obviously what they were trying in India, which is a very complex country, or without the electoral process, which they have done in Bangladesh next door. And you have seen Sheikh Hasina removed. So this is it's a matter of satisfaction for all of us who have been talking about this, who have been talking about the fact that Prime Minister Modi is in the gun sights of people who do not like his independent policy, who do not like the fact that India has stood up under Prime Minister Modi. And we have been saying this for quite some time, and now it's been confirmed by the US government, by US government the data and details. So what are those who were critical of us going to say now about the fact that, for so long, they called us, conspiracy theorists? The fact is, yes, there are conspiracies, and unfortunately, many of these conspiracies turn out to be accurate. And the conspiracies that they have so-called unraveled about this government are absolutely a load of absolute rubbish. They have said that there is mass killing of minorities. Where is that? Anywhere in the country? It is, stray incidents take place. People from different communities, unfortunately, pay with their lives. Sometimes to people from other communities, very rarely for interfaith reasons, usually for other reasons such as financial or personal. But the fact is, so many lies have been spread about India. So many lies have been spread about Indian democracy. So many lies have been spread about Prime Minister Modi. It is astonishing, frankly, and if I may say so, it's a mountain of untruth that has come up. And now that mountain is being demolished, not only in India, but very systematically by the United States as well. And it is now clear that USAID was a major conduit for funding these groups. And on the one hand, Biden was all smiles. There was a great welcome in the White House. On the other hand, this kind of underhand activity was going on. And we have been pointing it out, but now we have got confirmation from no less than the President of the United States that our apprehensions were correct. Thank you.
Right. Madhav Nalapat, thank you for sharing your views. Tara Kartha, do you feel it's the time now that India should name and shame the sellouts who have interfered in Indian elections? Essentially, it is a violation of India's sovereignty as well.
No, I would wait for some confirmation as to how this has been worked out, because 21 million apparently is to sort of maintain this outfit in India, right? Which itself is questionable, right? That itself, that there should be these NGOs who are supposed to be monitoring elections elsewhere. I mean, what business do you have doing these things? We are a democracy. We have a perfectly capable election commission who's able to do these things. So what is the necessity at all? I mean, forget about the funding aspect. Second thing is, apparently from what I can make out, that there was this International Foundation for Electoral Systems, an MOU with them by the CEC. Now, whether the money there was exchanged, again, we don't know what for sure, but IFES is funded by the Open Society Foundation, which is a George Soros outfit. So there are these, like Professor Nalapat accurately said, there are these multiple avenues of funding various NGOs for various reasons, which we have to look into very carefully for in future times. This cannot be allowed in a functioning democracy. I mean, in the end, it's so strange. Our election turnout was far higher than that of the US. So what are you talking about for election turnout? We are quite capable of handling it ourselves.
Absolutely, ma'am. I request Sarakartha and Madhav Nalapat to stay with us. Remember, it was in April 2024, when the Prime Minister had first hinted out at interference, at foreign interference to be precise, in the Indian elections. Listen into that statement.
आजकल देश दुनिया के बड़े बड़े ताकतवर लोग मोदी को हटाने के लिए एकजुट हो गए हैं, लेकिन ये नारी शक्ति का आशीर्वाद है, मातृशक्ति का आशीर्वाद है, आपका सुरक्षा कवच है कि मोदी हर चुनौती से टकराते हुए चलता जा रहा है.
Mr. Nalapat, what do you think could be the legal actions that India could take, keeping in mind the foreign interference that has come to light in the Indian elections?
Look, I think the legal avenues are somewhat limited. But the fact is that if names are furnished of those who benefited from this funding, which is obviously quote-unquote foreign funding, and that too not from private individuals, but directly from the US state, run by the Biden administration at that point in time. I think naming those who received this kind of money would be would be extremely damaging to them, and would enable a situation to be created in which they no longer are able to function because their credibility would have gone down to zero. So I'd like to say that this can only be the tip of the iceberg. And may I remind you, India is not the only democracy where this has happened, the only large democracy. In the United States, a systematic effort was on to basically brand Donald Trump a Russian agent. I mean, that's utter rubbish. A Russian agent, and to ensure that he would be defeated in the just concluded U.S. election, of 2024, November. So the fact is, massive meddling took place there, massive funding took place there, and people like George Soros, frankly, they are helping China because they are damaging those countries or seeking to damage those countries, India especially, under Prime Minister Modi, that can stand up to China and help secure the Indo-Pacific along with the United States and other partners.
Right.
So why George Soros is acting in a way which is of substantial benefit to China is something for George Soros and his foundation to answer. But this Open Society Foundation is actually a foundation that closes society to any opposing view. And they did that during the Ukraine war by just shutting off access to any view that was contradictory to the rah, 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 the chant that we heard about the Ukraine war, that Ukraine would win the war from days maybe 15 or 20 or 200 or 300 or 600.
Absolutely.
But the fact is, it was, as Prime Minister Modi correctly divined, it was not possible for Ukraine to win. And Prime Minister Modi sought peace as early as April 2022, when Ukraine had hardly suffered much damage. And the United States, Britain, European countries blocked Zelensky from accepting that. And look what's happened to the country. And do you think any of these countries are going to lift a finger to help a devastated Ukraine? No country. Thank you.
Right. Madhav Nalapat and Sarakartha, thank you very much.